Hello, hello. It is Friday Night Live right here on my page. Let's gather here and have a wonderful Friday night. I know for some it's quite late. It's in the around 11:30 for some. Hello, hello. Join in. It's going to be an awesome time. Grab a pen, grab a paper, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's going to be an amazing session. It is going to be a very reflective session today. I highly recommend that you grab a pen and a paper and because you are going to learn so much. So tell a friend to tell a friend. They will be glad you invited them on. Hello everyone, how are you doing? I trust you are doing well. We'll go ahead and get right into it so we can make the most of the time. I hope that your week has been good and it feels like you have made some progress this week. So let's get started. So hello everyone, my name is Dr. Keturah Adams. I am the president of HarryTech Global, and under HarryTech Global we have several programs. We have the Tap In signature course where it is about encouraging individuals to display their brilliance and operating their brilliance. We have other programs that we offer from childhood really to adult. Every program regarding personal development and professional development, we have it right there. And I encourage you to check us out on our page at HarryTech_Global. HarryTech_Global. There's always some insightful information that you will receive. All right, let's get started. Who is ready? I know I am. I'm very excited about this topic because it relates to you as an individual, okay? As an individual, there are some things that you have to put in place for yourself. No one can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And whenever you do that for yourself, the rest of it just unfolds. But we have to get the foundation well. We have to get the foundation well. Again, I can't stress this enough. Someone needs to hear this. And so if you know someone that needs to hear this about purpose and how to align themselves with their purpose and walk in their purpose, then please share this with someone. Okay, so when we think about, I'm sure you have watched some kind of superhero movie, right? So when you think about these superhero movies, what stands out to you? When you look at the superhero, you find that they are displaying some unique power. They are displaying some ability. They are displaying some personality, right? When you look at the superhero. And there seems to be something that they do. So there will be some superheroes that are inspiring others. There are some superheroes that are fighting villains. There are superheroes preventing disasters. They're protecting a whole country or nation. There are others that are building. There are others that are mentoring. What does that tell us? These superheroes have superpowers. And I want us to see that for ourselves as well. We have been beautifully and complex and beautifully designed and so complex also have our own superpower. If you are not using your superpower or you're not using any superpower, doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means that you have not discovered it and are not even putting it to use. So again, superpowers are like extraordinary abilities, okay? These are not common to everyone, but for you, specialized for you, or very specific group of people. These are your specific abilities, your talent, your interest. As we're going on, trust me, I want you to really reflect. It's going to change you. I can guarantee you this life will change you, will give you such aha moment, will get you thinking, why didn't I know this? I can guarantee. So let's go on. So when we talk about the superpowers, we are talking about your brilliance. We're talking about your brilliance. What is it that puts you in the place where you know, people look at you and know that, man, this is extraordinary. It is not everyone. You understand? Everyone can eat, everyone can walk, everyone can do specific things, but there are some things that are unique to certain individuals, and we must understand that. So now that I've given you just some background about your abilities or superpower, the next thing I want to talk about is purpose, because today's topic is about how to align these superpowers, your unique abilities, to your purpose, right? And so when we talk about purpose, we're talking about your life mission. So looking at a superhero, the superhero has a life mission, has a mission to inspire, has a mission to protect, has a mission to fight, whatever it is. You as an individual also have a mission. All right. And the question, how to know what your mission is if you can answer these. Reason why you're here. Why am I here? Is a question. What drives me? Is a question. And then what impact can I make? So why am I here? What drives me? What impact can I make? These are things that at a point you ought to be able to explain, or not even explain, you ought to be able to say it. And it has to be clear, like your name. When that resonates, this area that I'm talking about resonates with you, trust me, you would even struggle making certain decisions. You won't struggle making certain choices or taking actions, because you have identified your unique purpose. All right. So now we are going to talk about how to connect your abilities or superpowers to your life's mission. So here we go. Sit back, sit back, grab your pen, grab your paper, and let's get going. Give me 1 second. All right, so let's get going. All right, so again, and there was a question, and I get this question a lot, is how did you discover your purpose? How did you discover your purpose? Well, we're going to talk about it. All right. One thing about me, one thing that I discovered, or my superpowers, or things that I discovered, went as far back as when I was a child. As far back. When I was a child, I remember in my neighborhood, I will teach all the kids, my age mates, and the ones a little bit older and the ones a little bit younger, you know, in that age group. Okay, I'm getting some. With that age group, I will teach. Whether you like it or yes, I will teach those people. And it was interesting because no one taught me how to teach. No one told me how to do it. I would look at the teacher in the classroom and would be so fascinated by it. It was so beautiful to me looking at the teachers teach. So I would have my own notebook, and I will have it stacked. I have all the different subjects that I enjoy teaching. So I enjoy teaching math and science. So I will have my own notebook, and then I will do my own notes. All right, my learning outcomes, everything. I will come home. I had my own board. My parents got me a board and got me a chalk and all that, and tables and chairs. And what do? I will go all around getting people to come. No one taught me how to go about it. These things stood out to me, and I began doing that. So my question to you is, as a child, are there some things that you were doing? You ought to be able to keep that in mind, or remember that. Don't forget it. Okay? Very, very important. These are not just fantasies. Your childhood dreams are not just fantasies. I remember my brother, one of my brothers, will dress up every day when we were kids in this soldier apparel or suit. And to him, when he puts it on, he feels like he is now a soldier. So he'll walk around, imitate their stunts, walk like them, you know, all of that. It was, at that age, no one taught him how to do that. And he would do all of these things. And fast forward, when I look at him right now, guess what he's doing? He is in the National Guard. He recently got, he just keeps rising up the ranks in that field. And he was doing that when he was much smaller. Who taught him that? It wasn't like, our parents were or anything. So you see how important our childhood dreams are. Please do not silence those childhood dreams. As I mentioned, for me, I enjoy teaching. I was teaching science. I was teaching my age mates and all. Guess what I'm doing right now? I am a professor teaching chemistry, teaching all science and math related courses. I'm teaching people, right, a bit younger than me, my age and older. I'm doing that. And this came from my childhood. So you may think, well, I don't remember what I was doing. You just spend some time to reflect. You will see some elements of your abilities back then. Because when you're a child, you didn't have any reason to doubt. You didn't have any inclination that there's any lack when you were a child. You were a child, you were dreaming big. You thought this was it. The world, the sky is not even your limit, right? And so be very mindful. Be very mindful. Your dreams are not fantasies. I didn't ask. I found that I was connected to that. And so be very, very mindful. If you are trying, or if you are in the process of discovering your unique abilities, your superpowers and all, I highly recommend that you take a seat and visit when you were young. Some of you may not want to visit that, and that is why I am here as a coach, to help you, all right, unpack all of that as well. But I really encourage you to do that. All right, there's some of you interested in building and other things like that. Very, very important. Make sure you go back and look at these things. All right, so as a child, when you have these dreams, these are real dreams, and if you take advantage of these dreams, trust me, it will go a long way. I don't know who needs to hear it, but you cannot silence that childhood dream. It is not a fantasy. Now you realize that as time goes on, as you were growing, there were some inherent desire. These are innate desires. Desires come in the form of passions that you develop over time. Those are also direction as to what your superpowers are. So your job is to shine with it through these passions, shine through these abilities. Yours is to do, because you have been graced to be able to work or utilize those superpowers. So don't silence the childhood dream. All right. So again, like I mentioned, I find myself doing pretty much what I was doing when I was 6 years old, when I was 7 years old. It's amazing. And so when someone asks me, how long have you been teaching? What should I tell them? Should I say I've been teaching for 10 years now? No, I have been teaching for about 30 years now. Yes. I have actually been teaching for 30 years now. I was teaching my mates. I was teaching them all of these things that I'm teaching now in terms of the subject. I was teaching back then 30 years ago. So you can imagine the level of growth. Imagine, and I'm so excited for mothers and fathers who are purpose-driven. Imagine what gift you can give to your child at 6 years old, helping them to nurture their abilities. Imagine if I actually nurtured my abilities from the time I was discovering that, from when I was, that young, let's say under 10, till now. You'll be amazed what would have happened. But thank God, I still had parents who helped me work through it. But I can imagine, as parents who are purpose-driven, who are doing that, man, can you imagine what these kids will become? I'm super excited for my own son. I'm already watching him, studying him, ticking the boxes, and allowing him to evolve into his own unique being. It's amazing. So, what do I want you to keep in mind here? I'm going to talk about a few things here that can help you discover your unique abilities. If you're ready, give me a 1. I am here to help you figure out how to unpack, how to bring out your superpowers. Okay, and then we'll talk about how that all ties to your purpose. All right, so let's move on. So there are 3 things that I have come to discover when I decided to go on this purpose journey and grow in that field, you know, as being a career and purpose alignment coach. Ever since I decided to go on this journey close to over a decade ago, I have come to learn a few things. And so I'm going to share with you some of the things that I have implemented in establishing my superpowers. Okay, so I'm going to share with you what people have asked me on the time. How do you discover? I am here to tell you. It's going to be awesome. And anything that you learn along the way, put that in the chat, share it in the comment section. I would love to know what is standing out to you. All right, so the first thing you want to keep in mind when identifying or discovering your superpower is your role. Your role. What is your role? And before we go to your role, let me back up. The first thing I want you to look at is your type. We'll come to your role next. Your type. Very, very important. What type or what is your kind? If you look at everything around us, there is a kind. You can't look at me and say I look like a beautiful plant. No. I am of the being or the human species filled with the Holy Ghost, but I'm from the human species. Does that make sense? You see a cat, you see a plant, they come from a certain kind. So you as an individual, although you identify with this human kind and all that, you also come or stem from a place. And that place is so key to help you identify, number 1, your talent. So your kind helps you identify your talent. Okay? And these are things that are found to be connected to your family. Now, whether you have a close relationship with your family or not, whether you don't like the family you're from, you did not choose your family. It's like what's happening here, but I'm not going to talk about what's going on. People losing identity, right? You cannot look at your type and say, oh, that's not me. No, that's you. And you have to embrace that to make the most of who you are. And so what type or what kind are you? I encourage you to look into your family. And that's the part I'm going to focus on. There's a whole lot. I can't do that all right now. Focus on your family. When you look at your family, you either share genetic inheritance or have some shared environment, right? You find yourself in the same place as family, in the same country, in the same, grew up in the same home and all of that. That plays a part in what talent you exhibit. When there are also some genetic traits about you that is connected to your family. So you cannot just launch out there and want to be this superhero or be this one and not know your kind. If you know you're a bird, you know you can fly. If you know you are a cheetah, you know you can run. If you know you're a turtle, you obviously know you just got to go one step at a time. And each one is equally important. But you can find the turtle, not knowing who they are, seeing the cheetah and say, oh my goodness, why can't I run this fast? Or you see the ant looking at the bird and say, oh my goodness, why can't I fly this high? We have to understand our kind. So our cultural background plays a part. Our shared environment, our genetic traits plays a part. Very, very, very key. And so when we look at these things, so think in your family, are there a lot of musicians there? Do you enjoy singing? Do you have this magnificent voice that if you tie it to it, your grandfather, your grandmother, or your mother, or your father, even if you feel, even if you are adopted, it's the fact that you are in a family and God placed you there, you have shared environment. So you can look at the family you're coming from or adopted into and still find that alignment with you. Very important. If you're learning something, give me a 1. So you can tell some families are athletic. You can tell some families are musically inclined. You can tell some families are hospitable and all of that, right? So you start to look at the family and then look at your life and you start to see why you exhibit certain traits. Why you exhibit certain traits. You cannot neglect that. Let me give you an example. My grandfather, get this, my grandfather was still going to school. My grandfather was still going to school up to until he was 80. My grandfather. If you look at some of his photos, you will see him much older, wearing his cap and gown. He loved to be in the educational sector. He loved it. I'm sure if he had the opportunity then to be a professor, he would have been that. But again, sometimes, but hey, he has seeds now and look at that. He loved to be in the educational system, and may his soul rest in peace. I remember whenever I go to Ghana, I could not wait to meet him. It's like that Elizabeth Mary kind of vibe. I mean, I could just sit next to him and just listen to the brilliance and just in awe. It's like everything, the wisdom was just flowing out. That was him. Now, if I look back at that, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. You will always find me in the educational sector. I will keep on learning till my hair is gray. I will keep on learning. I will keep on desiring. In fact, if I'm that one who does not mind getting another degree. Don't be surprised if you see me with a theology degree or some others like law that I'm also interested in. What am I saying? This desire didn't just show up. I could see the traits in my family. My family are very hospitable, very, very, very welcoming. I mean, they host you into their home, they will go above and beyond. I'm the same way too. In fact, until the guest leaves, I feel like I'm standing. Like, are you okay? Are you fine? Are you comfortable? Not every family, not every person is like that. So I look at my family and I could see some traits that resonate deeply with me. So my question to you is, looking at your family, looking at your adopted family, what are some traits that stands out to you? What are some traits that you find yourself doing so effortlessly? That is unique. That is your superpower. Because not everyone came from your family, correct? Not everyone. Not everyone. So I would also like to hear from you. Share it in the chat. Are there any of these talents that you've noticed in your family that resonates with you? Please go ahead and share that in the chat. All right. So that's number one way to help you discover your brilliance, to discover your superpowers, discover your unique abilities. These are some terms that I use a lot, around me on my page, to discover that number one, your type. The